At the end of what turned out to be election week, on the Saturday after Election Day, when Joe Biden was finally declared president-elect, the streets of Washington, D.C. erupted.
So good, so good, so good.
Goodbye, Donald Trump, they said. And though from the other side of the security fence, Trump pushed back, come Inauguration Day, indeed, he'll be gone. But what about the politics of Trump? Trumpism, they call it. Has it now changed the Republican Party? And by the way, what exactly is Trumpism?
There is a crassness to Trumpism, a desire that punishing elites, being cruel to elites, being cruel to others, be they immigrants, people with disabilities, giving the other their comeuppance is more important than any actual policy matter.
Tim Miller is a former Republican strategist who helped create the group Republican Voters Against Trump.
I'm a registered Republican voter.
I'm a lifelong Republican.
This is one of their ads.
I just can't vote for Trump.
I am not voting for Trump this year.
Regular Republicans urging other Republicans to vote Trump out.
I'm so tired of all the division.
The division and hatred he has purposely fostered.
The argument was that Trump isn't a real Republican at all, and that he needed to be stopped by Republicans. And yes, in November, Trump did lose, but, says Miller, Trumpism lives.
The reality is pretty dark, which is that Trump is going to cast a long shadow over this party, at least for the next 4 years, potentially longer, and that the party will be infused with Trumpism at some level, and with him, playing a kingmaker role, if not being the candidate himself, in 4 years.
After all, some 75 million Americans did vote for Trump last year. So-called Trump Nation didn't win the day this time, but it's a powerful force. Tupelo, Mississippi, late 2019, outside one of those massive Trump rallies.
4 more years! Go Trump!
Among the thousands waiting to get in, we caught up with Florida's Gene Huber.
This president is going to take care of me and my family and the country and the world.
Hello, Tupelo.
And he's far from alone in that view. In the crazed rock concert atmosphere of the rally itself, Trump was the star. Huber was front row center. One of 24 Trump rallies Huber attended.
And we know he tells us the truth. Anything he tells us, we believe him.
Huber tells us now that his devotion remains strong as ever. He and the rest, he says, now wait for Trump's cue on who to support next time.
Whatever our president would say to vote for, I would definitely be on his side, because that means that person is thinking like the president.
The lessons that Republican politicians learned is that Trump was able to give them access to this whole new base of voters. So they're going to try to figure out what they can take from Trump and how they can act like Trump in order to appeal to that audience.
In other words, for politicians now maybe thinking of 2024, the message is to be like Trump, or to at least seek his blessing. Still, say some, not so fast.
I don't think there's necessarily going to be a need to kiss the ring.
Orrin Cass, a former advisor to Mitt Romney, notes there's now a giant blemish on Trump's brand.
Because he lost. And at the end of the day, parties appreciate what their prior leaders have done, but those who lose tend to have less standing.
Plus, think about it. No more press briefings. No more guaranteed 24/7 media coverage. And, says Cass, to those who think they can be Trump 2.0, it's not that simple.
I think, though, to the extent that the people that Trump tries to tap are people who try to behave Trump-like, I think they're going to be quite bad at it. And so when I think about post-Trumpism, it's not just what Trump did, but with a different political leader. It's learning the lessons of Donald Trump. It's recognizing some of the problems in America and with our public policy that he really called attention to. It's recognizing the kinds of politics that can appeal to a lot of voters.
We are going to win back the White House. We're going to win it back.
Indeed, in the end, maybe the real lesson in all of this is about America itself. Trump may be labeled ugly and divisive by countless, but he proved that Trumpism works. It made him president.
Appealing to those voters is going to be central to the Republican Party for a while. Republican-based voters wanted Trumpism. That's what they wanted. I think the Republican Party is still going to be in league with Donald Trump for as long as he's around.
And if you doubt that, consider again Gene Huber.
Mr. President, we love you. We're going to be walking side by side with you, and we will always have you back.
A powerful force in this country, still many millions strong.
So, Paul, interesting listening to Oren Cass talk about future leaders learning the lessons of Trump. What does that lead to?
Well, many worry, Democrats and Republicans, that the next Donald Trump could be smarter. Think about it. If Trump had handled the COVID crisis better, he may well have been reelected. 4 more years of his style of politics and governing. Where would that leave America? The lessons of Trump are that populism works. You can get elected that way. And with that, all the powers of the office. You can also get reelected if you don't mess up, as Trump seemed to do with COVID. Trump 2.0 goes to thinking, won't make that mistake.
Okay, so that's the Republicans. But in terms of Joe Biden, how does he calm the chaos now?
Well, that's the question now, isn't it? Biden has based his whole brand on being a bridge builder. He didn't spend decades in the Senate for nothing, right? But can he? None of the feelings on display today on Capitol Hill are new. They are deeply held convictions from people who, until Trump, were not even really a part of the political process. That's one of the reasons they like Trump so much. He speaks to them somehow. Can Joe Biden win them over? How? And he's got that, and COVID, and a still spiraling economy, all landing on his plate at 12 noon, January 20th. Adrienne.
All right, Paul, thank you for all of your work tonight.
Pleasure.